Welcome to Base to Base Military Homeschooling, the podcast sponsored by Military Homeschoolers Association. It is designed specifically for military homeschoolers navigating the unique challenges of educating our children while moving to new communities every 2 to 3 years. I'm your host, Natalie Mack, and I know firsthand the challenges and rewards of homeschooling while on the move. So where in the large world of military homeschooling are we today? Listen in to our incredible guests. Hello, so I'm Natalie Mack, the founder of Military Homeschoolers Association and the host of another episode of Base to Base. I am super excited to be here today, and we have an amazing guest. A fellow male homeschooler. So if you're watching and you're thinking, oh, I think I can do this, then you can do this. You can sign up to be a guest on the podcast. I would love to have you. And so I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her and her family, where she's stationed at, all the military homeschooling details that we like to know. Go ahead and roll it out.
My name is Rolinda McKnight, and my husband and I have been at Fort Benning, believe it or not, for 17 years together.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. And tomorrow we celebrate our 17th wedding anniversary. So that's exciting.
Wow. Yes. Congratulations. How awesome.
Thank you. And as a result, or as the fruits of our marriage, we have 5 wonderful children.
Okay. I love the number 5.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's definitely crazy at times, but I love it. Good. We have 4 girls and our last one is a boy. And the ages range all the way from 15. She's going to be in 10th grade to our son who is 6 and will be in 1st grade this coming fall. Nice. So I have homeschooled them all the way. I used to teach, fun fact, on Fort Benning as a teacher in 2nd grade for a couple years. And then I decided to have our family, and here we are. The cool thing about Fort Benning is that it's a very transient post. Mm-hmm. So it's approximately about 100,000 soldiers go through it every year, which is a lot. Wow. So that is pretty amazing because of all of our schools that are here.
Right.
We see so many people on the regular, and just for our own post, there's about 30,000 soldiers here too. So that's kind of just like the lay of the land. So I would say we're a fairly bigger post. Mm-hmm. Okay. And with a lot of more land, and it's pretty concentrated where people live on post. We do not live on post. We're actually right off post. We feel like we are living on post because we're there a lot. Yes. Our nonprofit that we also run to on the side. So my husband is in the reserves, and he was active duty up until about 2010. And he was teaching the captain's career course at the time, and then joined the nonprofit that he's in. And now to also just be part of the community still, because we love Fort Benning. He is now in the reserves, and it's great.
Yes. Wow. So many. Oh gosh. Okay. So many tracks. My mind is like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Okay. But first thing I just realized is that people may not know what Fort Benning is. So, you're there, and then I travel a lot around, and I'm doing this military homeschool thing anyway. So I know where Fort Benning is, but you want to talk a little bit about like where it actually is?
Yes. So we are located in southwestern Georgia, right on the border of Alabama. And it is this special little place. It's actually close to Columbus, Georgia, and Phoenix City, Alabama. We are called the Tri-City area. And yes, and it is just so lovely. We like the small community there. It's just got a nice hometown environment. It's very quaint, and it's really great. but it is also, Columbus, Georgia is also the second largest city in Georgia.
What? No way.
Yes. Yes.
That's a shocker. I would not have, what? Okay. All right. I'll have to sit with that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I was going to say, I know it's known for barbecue, right? Like Columbus, Georgia, the barbecue, but wow. Okay. So you got Atlanta and then Columbus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So why is it like, how did that happen? What's going on with that? Is it because of all the military that's there, but that's a transient, but I guess they are counted in the numbers, or it's people retired there, or like what is driving it? Maybe a couple of factors.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of factors, considering that we are a military population. And so the military people don't always get a choice of if they want to go to Fort Benning or not. And so they're kind of counted in those numbers too. So
Yeah.
that would
Wow.
be the reason why. Yes.
That is something else. Okay. All right. Let me think here. You said a couple of things. I want to make sure that we kind of touch on the nonprofit because I don't know what that is, but I think we want to ask that question. And the transition from active to reserves and just so many things. And so, in fact, you've been there 17 years. Wow. I love, love, love that. So here is what I was just saying on another somewhere I was speaking. There are military who don't move a lot, right? That basically, and there's different reasons. And so that is phenomenal that you all have been there that amount of time and been able to like really like live there, like put roots down. What is that like? Do you come from a military family or your husband or anyone, or like, I'm wondering if you've like moved around a lot as a child and now you're thinking, oh, this is great. I don't have to do that anymore.
Well, my husband says that I like to just try the newest, latest, and greatest thing. So I always love change. That's
Okay.
me. But yes, we have lived here, and it is, I will say this, there is some pros and cons to being the person that's left behind, because you really do, being in the homeschool community that I'm in, I also lead a homeschool co-op as well. And so we get really attached to the families that are there, and there are some precious people that we have just really, sewn our hearts together with.
Yeah.
And then they up and leave.
Yeah.
And since it is such a transient community, a lot of times, I mean, if we get them for a year, that is so amazing. And you just have to pour in really quick. But the sad part is that they do leave. And so you're constantly opening up your heart to people and then they leave. But it's also beautiful too, because as they leave, you can get connected. And as you travel to so many places, you'll call them up on the phone. Hey, I'm coming to this, area, or I know you're there. Can we you? So that's kind of fun. But yeah, it's definitely has its pros and cons.
Yeah, I'm glad that you unpacked that because, and I think our civilian homeschooling groups and our civilian homeschooling families that support us, those that are near military installations, I think they experience that same thing of, wow, this was a precious military homeschooling family and now they got orders to go and that's home for them. So they're not leaving. Right. So I think that's in what that, what you have to go through yourself to part ways, as well as like you said, your husband, like you probably, if you love change, you probably have been like, I would have loved to have moved a little bit in there too, right?
Yes.
Just a little bit. Give me maybe 2-3 more duty stations. We could have done it in 17 years. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, we want to unpack so many things that you have mentioned. Let's see here. I'm trying to stay to our like questions here, and I did tell you I may squirrel a little bit. What was the driving force? What's your reason for homeschooling? Like you've been homeschooling that long, and you from the beginning, it sounds like it's what I think I understood you to say, right? So, what is that? What was the driving factor for you all to choose, and is that still what's driving you continuing to homeschool?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think as I have homeschooled throughout the years, I've homeschooled now for 12 years,
Okay,
and this is going on our 12th year of
gotcha.
homeschool. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to really know for sure at that point, do I really like this? I
Right.
better have some good reasons besides, oh, I get to do cute, fun, crafty things with my kids because trust me, there's a lot of, I call them yellow school bus days where, you know,
Yeah.
you get frustrated. Your kids are so unappreciative to you.
No, I
You
know.
see
Yeah.
that beautiful yellow school bus driving by your house. They
Yeah.
see it too. And they also want to go on it on some of those.
Right. They want to get on the yellow school bus too. Yeah, they
Yeah.
think
So
it's the magic school bus, and it's not. Anyway, I didn't say that.
exactly.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so I one of the big driving forces for us, we, you know, do have a very personal relationship with God. And so I feel like
Mhm.
for us, He's
Mhm.
called us to that
I understand.
mission. And I understand, you know, that some of the friends that are listening today might not have that.
Mhm.
And there has to be other factors. But for us, it was that. I mean, I had a great job. I was teaching public school for years
Mm.
and moved to Fort Benning and then also had a great job on post too. And so I
Mhm.
know how the education is there, but I just really wanted to personalize it a lot. And I just felt like I get to build character. My husband
Mhm.
and I do get to build
Yeah.
character to our kids,
Right.
and we get to impart those things and we get to train them because we don't have many years. I mean, 18 years seems like a long time, but
Mhm.
our daughter is 15 years old
Yeah.
and that flew by,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
And I know now we only have 3 more years with her, and we just want to pour into her as much as we can before
Yeah.
she goes to college.
Yeah.
So that really is the motivator. And so every time, you know, I do have those days and I do joke and say, oh, well, there's yellow school bus days.
Yeah.
But
You're
at
right.
the end of the day, I go to God and I say, okay, is
Yeah.
this really what you're calling me to do? And when He
Right.
says yes, I have to obey that.
Oh,
So,
yeah. 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 And gosh, so much of that resonates with me. And I'm glad that you open it up because we do have a variety of listeners, and we want to, we love on all of our male homeschoolers for whatever reasons you choose to homeschool. But all of what you were saying personally resonates with me. And yeah, and we're joking, I like, about you know, putting them on a school bus. I mean, there were days where maybe when I first started saying it, I wasn't joking, I was serious. But, like you, like, I don't know, I was called. And matter of fact, our oldest daughter challenged me, like homeschool kids do. You raise them to be independent thinkers and question things, and you tell them there's no bad question, and then they come for you, right? Uh, and she said, one day I did say, oh, school bus. And she was like, Mommy, I thought that you said that, you felt called to homeschool, that God called us, our family, to homeschool. And I was just like, and even now I feel tears coming, but I'm not going to let tears because we're not doing tears today. But I was like, wow. And I could never say that again. I could never say that again. And I wasn't ever fully serious either. And I knew, right? So I get you. Wow, that's really, yeah. At the end of the day, and this thing about, like you said, your oldest is 15, 3 years, in a blink of an eye. 3 years will be gone. And I know we are now finished. Our youngest, we have five as well. Our youngest is turning 18 the end of this month. He just graduated June 7th, and he's headed to college, and I'm not okay. um, I mean, I will be. I will be. It's kind of like, yeah, you joke about the school bus, but you're not serious. You'll be okay. So it's the same thing. I'm going to say I'm not okay. We raised them, to launch, but that time to put your values and, to bond with them and to build family together, the amazing time homeschooling gives. I hear you. And so, yeah. So I shout you out. I shout all of us out. Whatever our reasons are, homeschooling is absolutely phenomenal. Even the days that are hard, you know. It's interesting, but it's good. So, yeah, we're getting deep here. We're getting deep, and that's okay.
I love getting deep, so
Yeah,
that's
that's
good.
okay. Um, Gosh, so tell us a little bit about Fort Benning because we want to make sure because someone's listening and they're saying, "Oh, this is great," but she's at Fort Benning, and I clicked on to listen because I'm going. We got orders there. They have not said a whole lot about what's there, so let's talk a little bit about, or a few minutes, yeah, definitely about Fort Benning and what's it like to homeschool there.
Yeah, no, great question. So Fort Benning is just a fabulous place. A lot of connections are here with a lot of homeschooling communities. And so we have my homeschool co-op, which I can talk about later,
Yes.
but there's also, we have a new one that came out a couple years ago called Home of Fort Benning, and it stands for the Homeschool Operation Military Explorers. And
Oh, wow.
so they are on Fort Benning. They worked really hard to get on that post. And
Interesting.
so they're there as an established homeschool group.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And there is a couple more too that I'd like to mention as well. The
Sure,
Light,
please.
the Light homeschool group is there. It is a Christian group,
Mm.
and they do a lot of stuff for high school kids, like prom and things like that, so your kid isn't feeling left out, because I think even 10 years ago it
Mhm.
was this stigma with kids that got homeschooled of, oh, that child isn't socialized. And
Mm.
so I would definitely say with any of these co-ops that I mentioned, it breaks that stigma, and they are getting that socialization that they
Right.
wouldn't get otherwise.
Yes.
uh, there is another group called the Chattahoochee Valley Learning Resource Center,
Okay.
and
I
that
like
one's
that.
pretty great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They have a lot of different things going on there, different classes. There's the 4-H club that is in Phoenix City. And
Mm.
a lot of the homeschool groups, I just went on there today on Facebook, and it is called Fort Moore Homeschoolers, but
Mm.
it really is the Fort Benning page. They just haven't changed the name yet. But that one, I have seen so many people respond if a mom is moving to the area and they want to know, hey, I want to know what other homeschool groups there are.
Mhm.
And so many parents respond in that.
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
so special. I know when I started homeschooling 12 years ago, there was none of that. And
Yes.
so it has really grown a lot.
Yes.
And moms don't have to feel so alone in the homeschool,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
community and things like that, because there is a great community here. So,
Yes. 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 Wow. Um, yeah, so many things still again just keep popping up. So I first want to say thank you for providing those resources. That's one of the things I hope to be able to encourage our guests to, as much as they can, to let us know what's in the area, including if they are part of something. So we want to talk about your co-op as well, but it's good to get all that info out. I am a member of over 80 groups around the military homeschool community world, Facebook groups rather. And so I'm in the Fort Moore one. And I had partnered with the school liaison there at Fort Moore. We partnered together and we brought Homeschool Alabama, which is the state org for Alabama. We brought Georgia Home Educators Home Association. I think I have that right. GHEA. And we did like a Facebook was it Facebook Live or Zoom or something like that, trying to just get people connected and get the information out there. So there's a lot of resources there. It sounds like a really great place. I mean, I'm thinking, when we get these orders to relocate, it's sometimes not easy when you leave a place like Benning. I'm thinking where you have so many families homeschooling and so many choices. Have you heard
yes.
people say something similar like that? Like, oh, I'm going to some place and I don't know if it's going to have what I have here.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. So, um, and so what about the homeschool laws there in Georgia?
So we live in Alabama, on the
Okay.
Alabama side.
Okay.
And Really, the only thing you need to do is tell this superintendent's office that here's the kids that are being homeschooled. I intend to homeschool, and that is all that they require. Now, on
Wow.
my end, I do like, because things change all the time, and it's just so important to create a log of some sort
Right.
of attendance and just kind of lesson plans and things like that. So just in case something happens, I don't want to just think, oh, I just don't have to do anything except write this letter and I'm
Right.
good. I like to protect myself a little bit.
Yeah.
So in our
Yeah.
family. So I have
Yeah.
all of the stuff ready to go in case it's asked of me.
That's so wise. It really is wise. One of the hats that I do wear that is not at all connected to this podcast nor Military Homeschoolers Association is HSLDA Military Outreach Coordinator. And so I put a plug in for them just because they do such an amazing job at what they do, which is to protect our freedoms to homeschool. And there's more and more legislation where they are seeing, coming out of so many of the states and all. And so I think, what am I saying? That means that I agree that I think even in states like Alabama, where you don't really have a lot of requirements, very, very minimal requirements for regarding homeschooling law, I think it's really wise to keep your records, keep all of that, because things are changing, or there's efforts to change things. And many of us are trying to fight against that. So it's good that you're wise to do that and keep those records. And I try to tell other military families, keep your records, just because. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't know. Don't get so comfortable. And then I'll put a plug in, and that's one reason I also really advocate for military homeschools to partner, to join, become a member of their state org, because those are the people that are really fighting for your freedom to be able to PCS into a Georgia or PCS into Alabama. And you have the right to continue homeschooling, because somebody has to stay on watch. Like we as military are on watch. They are on watch for homeschooling. And so they do need our support, and membership is what drives a lot of their ability to stay on watch for us. So, so let's see what else we want to talk about. Do you happen to have any insights into special needs and resources there, or anything along that category?
Yeah. So fun fact, I don't know if you would consider this a fun fact, but my daughter is a little neurospicy, as I say.
I love neurospicy kids.
She was diagnosed with ADHD, our oldest.
Okay.
And so that was definitely, I never expected to have some kids that are neurospicy, but it's just been it's been a huge insight to see like what resources are out there, and is there a lack of resources too. And so that has been a little bit of a challenge. I would say we did have to contact a private organization to get her tested.
Okay. All right. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes the resources just aren't there. I know TRICARE prefers military homeschoolers to go through their local public school to get tested. Sometimes that's just not going to happen, or the wait is so long, right?
Yes, it is. And Alabama does not have it where we can go into the schools and do the testing and things like that. So it does make it a little bit of a challenge, but we got the testing. She's got counseling and all of those things, which has been really helpful. And so I don't feel alone in that. And honestly, with having such a big homeschool community here in Georgia, I was able to tap in and ask some moms just through Facebook groups and things like that. What do I do? And through my own curriculum that I am involved with as well. There's a really great special needs group in there. And so I was able to pick their brain. Our youngest has some reading delays as well. Coming from that arena, I've learned some things too. So it's just been fun to like try to figure it all out. But, it's been quite an adventure.
Yes. So, just a quick segue. You were a teacher. So, what is it like that you're now homeschooling? Like, do you think, oh, I never expected that I would do this, or did you kind of think I would, or what's the thoughts about that? Because I know there's some teachers listening who are thinking, I want to homeschool. Can I do this? And what's that going to be like? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that there's two parts to it
Okay.
because I feel like as I talk to moms and, I'm trying to encourage moms, just any mom, you
Hmm.
can homeschool and your kid will have a great education. I try not to wave the flag of I was a professional educator
Yeah.
before them because
Yeah.
then they'll say, well, it's easy for you to say because you were a teacher.
Yeah.
And although that's true to some extent, I was a teacher. I had a detox, to be
Yeah.
honest. And I mean that in all the nicest respect possible to educators out there. But it is so different
Yeah.
when you are educating your own children, even the time of the day. You don't have an 8-hour day like you do when you're teaching a full classroom of
Right.
students.
Right.
You are able to do things in a quicker way.
Mhm.
You can't really set up the classroom the same way. You could, but it really can. It could burn you out too. But for me, yeah, I had to learn a lot of things, and the curriculum that I thought was so great for our classroom isn't necessarily conducive to a family style.
Mhm.
So
Right.
learning how to combine kids and things like that, it's definitely different when it's your own kids.
When it's your
So
own kids. Yeah. I love
yes.
how you said that. Yes, I think that's good information, good feedback that people can really take hold of. So, gosh, let's get into your co-op. Let's talk about your co-op and what you're offering. And then also let's segue into like the nonprofit. They're totally different. Yes?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
ma'am, they
All
are.
right. So let's
They
talk
are.
about your co-op and tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I started my kids and I, right? So we had a really rough year in 2018.
Okay.
My husband was in the Army for a long time and had done previous deployments. In 2019, my mom passed away. I had a newborn baby,
Mm.
and my husband deployed all at
Mm.
this literally within like 3 months, period.
Wow. Wow.
It was so hard. And
All in the military. Does all that happen at once?
I know. It rocked my world. And so anywho, here I was without really any support. My in-laws, I love them. They were up in New York, and so that's where they live. And so there was not a whole lot here. And I hadn't thought, oh, I really need a co-op in
Mm.
the area. I
Mm.
can do this. I'm a teacher. And
Right.
that attitude can only get you for so long until you are feeling exhausted and quite honestly burned out.
Yeah.
So I continue to homeschool our kids, and I'd give reports back to my husband. Oh, our kids are doing great. They're flourishing. You'd be so proud. And I was dying inside. Like I just I didn't have the community that I didn't even really think I needed. So
Yeah.
we got involved with one of the co-ops in the area. It was one of the CC. And for those that don't know what CC is, it's Classical Conversations.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we were with them for about 3 years, and fabulous group. Love them. And I'm still friends
Mhm.
with a lot of the moms there. And yeah, we were involved there, but then I felt like God was putting on my heart to start a co-op. And my heart went out to military families, and
Mhm.
I wanted to make the cost low. So I
Mhm.
made it free. And I said, hey,
Wow.
I think that there's a need out here. I just felt like because of my experience in 2019 where I
Yeah.
didn't have that community, my heart was for those military moms, the moms that, have all the babies and they're just like
Yes.
dying for somebody to come and talk to them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
love on them and
Right.
just see them as people. And
Yeah.
so I answered that call and put it out on a Facebook page because I had no idea what I was doing at the time. And I said, "Hey, is anybody interested in maybe a co-op?" And I thought I'd get like 2 responses.
Yeah.
It was so overwhelming. I had no idea. And I said to my husband, "Oh my gosh, there's like 5 families in a couple minutes. oh no, there's like 20 families, you know,
Wow.
and by the end of it, about 50 families had reached out to me. And I thought, oh my goodness, okay, this is way more than what I even realized. And I knew that the need was there. Like God saw these people and he wanted me to be used to like be with them.
Right.
And
Right.
so, yeah, so we started our co-op with, we finally whittled it down a little bit to like what we were looking for. And we had made the requirement at the time, hey, I can't teach everything, but you know, if you're interested, you can teach something too, and we'll do it together. So 3 of us came and joined. And then that was the first year. And so then it started to get more popular and like more people, you know, ask about it and things like that. And so it gained momentum. And now we're at about 6 families and it's closed off because I like to keep it small. However, we have a nature club that meets the 3rd Friday of the month in
Wow.
Fort Mitchell. And
Okay.
that one is open to, it's come one, come all kind of situation. And it's really targeted for kids from age 6, all the way up to high school, 12th
Okay.
grade.
Perfect.
And
Wow.
so in that one, it's a classical Charlotte Mason co-op nature club. And I'm teaching families, even moms, to come nature journal and learn how to just appreciate God's creation and learn about it. We've had a forester come and teach us about trees last year and just teach us about what does a poisonous plant look like and things like that. And just, I mean, I learned a whole lot too from that experience.
Yes.
But that's been beautiful. And so we meet at a park and it has just been so lovely. And then my co-op that meets in my house, we are doing a Charlotte Mason style co-op and it has just been great too. And we do Shakespeare and poetry
Yes.
and art lessons and recitation. And it's just so amazing to see the kids grow. We had one little child that was so afraid to say anything. And at the end, he just stood up with great confidence, one of our last meetings, and just said his part so proudly for his recitation. And it's just been really wonderful. And the moms are just delightful.
Yes, wow. Amazing. So you stepped into like your heart was like, okay, this is what I feel called to do. And you put out that like, hey, anybody interested, right? And then all the people that God had seen and was like, okay, they responded. And now you have this amazing co-op and you have this amazing nature classical Charlotte Mason kind of nature program going, and what amazing. So I mean there's so much to take from that. So if you're listening and you feel led by God or your own thoughts, right, go for it. There's people who need what it is that you have conceived, right? It's people that need it and you won't even know till you say let's go, let's do it. So that's absolutely phenomenal. I love it. And so no twaddle, right, is happening. No twaddle.
Yes, ma'am.
all the,
That's right.
yeah, all the Charlie, all the CMers, no twaddle. And it's funny because my husband, he'll say, oh, and I'm like, no, that's twaddle. And he's like, so, so now he uses it like, oh, this is twaddle free. I'm like, yeah, good. So that is awesome. I love it. I love it. Tell us a little bit now about the nonprofit. Oh, well, also, let me back up. The resources that are being mentioned, we will do our best to put the links and information in the show notes. So, if you're thinking, oh, how do I get in contact with that? And now she's on to something else and I want the information about that. Don't worry, we're going to try to recap and put everything in the show notes. That's one of the goals, to create like information, right? So that you aren't kind of out there stabbing in the dark, looking around, trying to find these things. So in any case, so we will therefore let people know how to reach out to you. I know you're trying to keep, small and all, but who knows, right? What's next for you.
Absolutely.
And who knows what's next and what God will call you to do, what you will feel like I need to do. So tell us, if you don't mind, a little bit about the nonprofit. Is that something that you you can share a little bit about?
Yeah, absolutely. We started a nonprofit based off of kind of my husband's story of just feeling broken, being in the military and realizing at some point in his journey with the military that he got all of what he wanted, but then was still left with disappointment and just was left empty.
Yeah.
And different soldiers that he spoke with and just that he comes in contact with, he realizes just how
Mhm.
broken there's a
Mhm.
broken community out here that is at loss of where do
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah.
And so he found, we are big on God. And so he found that for himself. And he found like that was the best way for him. And he wanted to help other people in their brokenness and things like that. And so we decided that we were going to start a nonprofit where we could help soldiers where they are in their
Mhm.
brokenness and reach out to them because we we honestly love people. And so
Yeah.
we see people in their brokenness and we just, we want to give them the message of hope that we
Mhm.
see as our hope.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's been such a great experience. We've met a lot of soldiers, a lot
Mhm.
of people, heard their stories, and it's just been such a beautiful experience. Some of them want to also help others, and it's just been really cool to see that message of hope get out there.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So we'll definitely have to include that as well. You know, those of us in the military, whether active, used to be active, reserve, National Guard, we serve because we feel called to serve our country, but it's not without a lot of sacrifice and a lot of brokenness. And so much of that is you discover and realize or see or have to deal with at the end of service, right? Because life is so busy, active that, it's when things start to slow down or you start to pivot or retire or decide, okay, it's time for me to, be on the veteran side now. And then you start to feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much that is broken. So, yeah, my heart goes out to that and the reality of that. I was just did a podcast with someone named Anna Larson, who founded Mill Spouse Transitions. And the podcast just aired, the episode just aired yesterday, I think it was, on LinkedIn. And it was talking about like the transitions for us as military homeschoolers from active to civilian, and how to like just be ready for that in all areas, not just financially because your income changes, but just everything. And so a big piece of it is this brokenness and how do we prepare? How can you prepare for brokenness, right? I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, those who have a faith, clearly we've talked about that, but God still sometimes you're in rough places even with the faith that you have to, and so it's not always easy. So I think that's awesome that you all have felt called to do that. And yeah, I think the theme I'm hearing from you yourself, and I mean, not having spoken to your husband, but the fact that he was called for you all to start this nonprofit is, yeah, like you said, you see people. I see that as a theme, and I'm sure that that's what you can impart and have been imparting to your kids. That's an amazing gift to give them to go out into the world and say, to have the gift to see people, that
Mhm.
people matter. That's not necessarily, that's something that I think is, I don't want to say trained, but it's something that is cultivated, you know to see people and to have that gift and to think that people matter, right? And that may sound like, of course people matter, but you got to live your life like they matter. And so that's a whole nother level. So I think it's great. We've been really deep. Whoa, okay. So, but it's good. It's good. So I want this podcast to have value. And so wherever we go, yeah, we want content, we want data, we want resources, but we want real life, you know, real homeschool life, real military homeschool life. So I think that we have done a great job today. I know that if time is getting away from us. And so if there's anything that you want to close with, Rolinda, let me know. I'll go ahead and open it up to you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here. And I just want to encourage all the homeschool moms, especially the ones that are just kind of on the edge, like, can I really do this? Is this something I can do? And they have that little drawing in their heart of, I want to do this, but I just don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
I say answer that call. I think you will not regret it for anything. And there is lots of people, whatever military installation you're in, there are lots of homeschool co-ops. Just look on Facebook and try to find different groups. And I can guarantee you're going to find something out there. And you can also post the link to my Instagram account too. And
Sure.
That's probably the easiest way for people to get a hold of me, and they can message me as well, and I'll be happy to send them different links and things like that. So,
oh, that's so awesome of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So, yes, I am so happy that you said, oh, I would love to be a guest. So thank you. Thank you very much. If you are listening, please sign up to be a guest, not for me, really, because I feel called for this podcast to serve and be a resource for us as military homeschoolers. And, in order for that to happen, you have to say, hey, I can share. I have something to say. So, and don't feel intimidated about the video aspect, because it's fun. And we've been having fun today, right? So,
oh yeah, definitely. Love it.
It's all good. It's all good. So thank you very, very much, Rolinda. I really appreciate you and your family and your journey and your story. Thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you all for watching another episode of Base to Base. It's sponsored by Military Homeschoolers Association. So all the things, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is where this Base to Base podcast lives. Make sure, please, that you like this episode, because it is phenomenal. Linda has just dropped so many nuggets. Share it to your community. Click that share button and let somebody else know. Don't hold all the goodness to yourself. And then make sure that you are liking and following us on our socials, Instagram, Facebook. Both are called Military Homeschoolers Association. We have 2 Facebook groups. One is Base to Base. And then we have one for military homeschool group leaders. And so if you fit in that category, you want to get into that group as well. So thank you very, very much, Rolinda, again. I appreciate it. And we are going to sign off. So thank you all. Bye-bye. See you in the next episode, you all.
Bye.